What's up, guys? Happy Thursday. I just finished a listing appointment, so I am headed back home, driving here in Beverly Hills, right next to the Beverly Hills Hotel. But we're going to wait for my guy to come on. Let's see here. His name is Peter from Boston. Hello. What's going on, guys? Let me know where you guys are coming from. I'm here. I just finished a listing appointment in Beverly Hills, so you can see all the palm trees on my roof here. What's up, John? What's going on? I got Gina on here. I got some other, I think you're a Greek name here. I can't pronounce that. Let's see. We have Antonia. Hello. Coast PCB. What's car on the coast? Maybe Palm City. Nice. Oh, Panama City. Palm City. Panama City. All right, we got Peter on. Let me get Peter on. Give me a second, guys. Here we go. Peter wants to join here. Let's get. We're waiting for Peter to come on. He's an agent from Boston. What's up, my man?
There he is.
How you doing?
What's happening, brother?
I just
I like
finished.
the
You like this here? Like, look at all these
yeah.
palm trees, bro.
Here we're filled with darkness, my man. I know
Oh,
it's
man.
3 hours ahead, but we got some snow the last 2 days.
Oh,
Like
really?
I would say a couple inches, and yeah, it's like I think it's gonna reach like 9 degrees this weekend.
Oh gosh, yeah. We've never had that kind of cold here in
I know,
in
man.
LA, man.
Yeah,
So I'm glad you're on. Thanks for joining. I'm usually at home, sitting down, having a glass of wine or a tequila or something. But
seriously,
like I just told you earlier, I just finished a listing appointment here in an area called the Bird Streets in Hollywood Hills, and it's the
nice.
most expensive section of Hollywood Hills in LA. There's houses here going for 3,000 a foot. 3,000 a foot.
Wow, that's
I know,
awesome.
man. That's insane,
That's
right?
awesome. We're just touching those 3,000 like condos,
Really?
yeah, we're just touching those now. I mean, we had
Yeah, that's a
some
lot.
at 4,000 square foot, but our spaces are a little smaller than out there, right? So
Oh
our
yeah,
our spaces are much smaller, so it drives the price up. But
for sure,
we're
for
touching
sure.
a little bit, but we haven't seen houses. Like houses don't reach that kind of price per square foot.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we got Sand. It says lovely babe. We have Antonia. I used to work in Beverly Hills for 6 years. Very familiar with it. All right, Antonia.
Nice.
So you must know this street. I'm right next to the Beverly Hills Hotel, which is kind of cool. We have Joanne Guerrero. Let us know where you guys are coming from. So I met Peter just like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think it's just 2 weeks.
Awesome, man. So Peter and I share the same coach, Jeff Mays. Shout out to
Yeah,
our
our
coach Jeff,
coach.
who's
Yeah, our
who's
life
really helped my
coach,
business.
family coach. He's
Yeah,
everything, right?
he
Anything
is,
you
man.
need, you can tell him. Yeah, he's a
Yeah,
good guy.
he's a really good guy. He's one of the speakers at Tom Ferry, and
Mhm.
he's really helped me with my scripts, man. And I know that
Yeah,
me and you are both working on getting better on the phone. It's so, I mean, like if we can
yeah,
get better on the phone, we're gonna get more business. We're gonna be able to help out more clients, and
right.
ultimately we're gonna have a better lifestyle, right?
Right. I mean,
And
everyone keeps asking me, like a lot of new agents, like, "Hey, what are you doing to get business, or what am I supposed to do?" And I keep saying the same thing. You got to know what to say, right?
yeah,
It's not just walking in an appointment or talking to someone blabbing away. You really have to know what to say, how to say it, when to say it.
yep.
That really drives the point. And I think learning that is what could take us to the next level. And I
Mhm.
think people underestimate the skill of actually knowing what to say.
It's hard. It's hard.
Super hard.
I mean, I've been in the business for 15 years. Peter, you've been in the business for how long?
4 years.
4 years, right? I mean, but
Yeah.
you're already killing it. I mean, like the fact that you started
Thanks.
coaching so soon in your career is smart, man. Like that's awesome.
I mean,
That's a
I took the mentality of being an athlete, and I
yeah,
said I was an athlete. I got coached all my life. I'm entering a career. I don't know anything about it. I need a coach. That's the only way my mindset worked, right? So
yeah,
I always advise a lot of new agents, go get a coach. I know it's expensive, but
yeah.
the dividend will pay itself, honestly.
It's the best return on investment for sure, man.
100%,
Sure.
man. We're good? We're good?
I I had to decline. Yeah, I got a call from a client. I had to decline
Oh
her,
man,
so
you gotta
hopefully she
make that
doesn't get mad
money.
at me. Sorry, sorry, Luis. Anyway, so let's talk about your story, right? I mean, like, everybody that's on
Sure.
here, I mean, unless they're your followers, they already know my story.
Okay.
Let's talk about your story. I mean, you've been in the business for 4 years. Talk about,
Yeah.
what, where you work out, how you get your clients, all that stuff.
Cool. Yeah, yeah. Been in the business 4 years. I would say I had no experience in real estate. I came from, my dad had a restaurant, so I came from that industry. So it didn't really overlap. I got my MBA. I didn't know what to do. So I said, I kind of fell into the lap of real estate, right?
Hmm.
Had no clients, no database, nothing in that space. Honestly, the way I got my business is the hard earned way. And I just got on the phones and was calling expireds. That's all I
Nice,
knew
man.
how to do. At that time, I would say when I started 4 years ago, my friends really weren't buying at that time. They weren't selling. A little too young, right, for that price for that time. So
Hmm.
I just got on the phone and was cold calling every day. I tried calling about, talking to 20, 25 people a day on a cold call. And little by little, you start getting one appointment, one listing. And then
Hmm.
that leads to someone walking into an open house, you grab a buyer. And then from there, I was just kind of piled on the listings that way my first year.
That's awesome, man. So talk about, all right, so you got into real estate. What was the reason why? I mean, you said it just kind of fell on your lap.
Yeah.
Like, how did that happen?
I think it just fell in my lap. I had a friend who was in the business. At that time, I was finishing my MBA. I didn't really want to go corporate. And he said, "Hey, man, I think you have the personality for real estate. Why don't you give it a try? Just come with me. I'll teach you the ropes and whatnot." So I just kind of fell into it. Honestly, I didn't really have a huge desire for it. It
Uh-huh.
wasn't something I was like wishing to have a career in. It just kind of
Mm.
happened. I think it fits in line with my personality and whatnot. So it was a good direction.
I mean, I love
Yeah.
real estate. I had one corporate job right out of college for 3 months. Actually, it was the summer before my last semester, and I did a semester abroad that last semester, and it was a 9 to 5, and I did my semester abroad. I got
Yeah.
back and I got a call from my employer. Hey, are you like when are you coming back? And I didn't respond to the email or the call. I was like, I'm not gonna go back. I'm not gonna go back. And I was kind of
Yeah.
depressed. I'm like, what am I going to do? I don't want to do a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Like going from like college and having fun, all that stuff, and then just going to like a 9 to 5. You got a boss. You got to be
It's
like doing something that you don't really like, I guess,
yeah.
care for. And then my mom was in real estate, and she's like, she was doing really well. And this is during the boom, right? Like I finished college
Mhm.
in 2006, actually 2005. So she's like, hey, like, do you want to come and help me out and see if you like it? And I just love the lifestyle. I just love the fact that I had control over my own schedule.
Yeah.
And back then, my schedule was not as regimented as it is now. Like right now, it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
wake
Yeah.
up at 4:45, 5, like reading
It's
and
it's more
meditating.
strict than when you used to work for corporate.
Yeah, it
It
is. It
really is.
is.
It really
Yeah,
is.
but it's my own thing, so I don't mind
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like you feel the same way. It's like it's our own
Yeah.
business.
Well,
It's the
for me, it
easiest
was
business.
I used to when my dad had restaurants and he used to have a breakfast place, and he
Uh,
used to wake up at 4 a.m. and go to work.
mm,
And at that time, I was young. I was like under 10 years old. And during the summer school breaks, I'd always ask him, "Hey, Dad, can you wake me up at 4 a.m. so I come to work with you? Can you wake me up
mm.
at 4 a.m. so I go to
No
work with you?"
way. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I think I started from there, watching him, be a
Work
restaurant
hard.
owner,
Yeah.
work hard, what it takes, and I think it kind of instilled in me. And I said, you know what, I want to do my own thing. I want to create something, maybe leave a little legacy behind, and see what my
That's
dad
awesome,
did.
man.
So my uncles were doing the same thing. So for me, it was kind of natural progression, but real estate itself just kind of fell into my lap.
Okay. Awesome, man.
Yeah,
When did you start coaching? How soon in the game did you
yeah.
start coaching?
I started coaching probably within like the first 6 months I was in the business.
Oh, right
I
away.
was yeah, at that time we had Mike Ferry. We had Mike Ferry as our coach for the whole company. So I was going to a lot of their conferences, and that's when I got exposed to coaching. And I said, you know what, I need that to get, when you see experienced agents that are rock stars on the stage saying, I do 50 deals, 100 deals, 200
Yeah.
deals, I do this
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there. I remember, actually, true story. Mike Ferry was speaking. He was going around asking people how many listings they want to do per month.
Mm.
And he asked like 4 or 5 agents. They're like 10, 20, 7, 8. And he points
Wow.
at me. And at that time, it was like 4 years ago. He goes, how about you, son? I was like, I looked around. I didn't do any deals at that point. I was like, one. He's
I
like,
love it.
okay, one. We'll get you one a month. And at that time, it was unimaginable to get like
Sure.
to
One a
three or
month is a
four.
lot.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah. Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a
So,
lot.
so I remember those days. So that's what got me into coaching, and then
That's
I've
awesome,
been in
man.
coaching ever since.
Yeah. So Peter was with Mike Ferry,
Yeah,
and you just switched over to Tom Ferry, which is why we know each other. And Mike and Tom,
exactly.
obviously, Mike is
Yeah,
Tom's dad, and
that,
he's like
yeah,
he's a legend. He's a
yeah.
legend.
He's a
I mean,
old school legend. Yeah,
old school legend. Like that
yeah,
guy is like
yeah,
his scripts like are like the way he can talk to people is like I've seen him and I heard him. He's amazing.
yeah. He can make you do anything that he wants you to do, pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
Yeah. So
which is
it's a
awesome.
great way as a new agent to learn the ropes because it's very just basic, right? It
Hmm.
just teaches you what to say, how to say it. He's good with the scheduling. Tom's totally different, which I'm really loving it right now because it
Hmm.
kind of tailored to like what the world is like right now. How to
Yep.
interact with people has changed drastically in the last,
Hmm.
I mean, last 9 months has changed. Let's not
Yeah,
even say last 5 years. So
yeah,
it definitely fits to today's era.
yeah, for sure, man. Let's see who's on here and see if they have any
Yeah.
questions. We have Ali Ross. So I have to bring this up because everybody, wants to know about The Bachelor or The Bachelorette.
The
You were on The
Bachelor, yeah,
Bachelorette. So
yeah.
for my followers that don't know
Yeah.
Peter, Peter was on The Bachelorette on the this last season, or when did it finish?
It was season 16. Yeah, it was
Okay.
the last season that just happened. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So how
Yeah.
what was your experience like? Like let's hear it.
Man, it was just so everyone keeps asking me how I got
I'm
on
sure.
or
I'm sure.
whatnot. It was an April day, COVID. I was sitting here at home. Actually, my sisters were watching it on TV, and I just got a random DM, and they just asked, and kind of I thought it was a joke. I thought I was getting like, pranked by my friends or something like that. I
Yeah.
thought it was just someone, a girl reaching out or something like that, like a scam. So it ended up being the real thing. I applied for months and months and months of applications and interviews and whatnot. And finally, like in July, they reached out. We're like, "Hey, we want you." I'm like, "Cool, thanks."
That's
They're like, "Get
awesome.
on, get on a plane. You got to get here in a week. We're filming in a week."
So
And I'm like,
you were here in like Malibu
"Palm,
area,
Palm,
right? LA.
Palm Springs."
Oh, you were in Palm Springs. Oh,
Yeah, Palm
I love
Springs.
Palm Springs, man. It's so
Yeah,
great. That's so
the La
awesome there.
Quinta, La Quinta.
Oh, La Quinta? Oh,
Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
that's awesome.
It
At the
was like
Waldorf? At the Waldorf Astoria?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was like
Oh,
120 degrees every day.
oh, yeah, it's kind of hot there in the summertime.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
little
right
hot.
in the
But they have
desert.
like
Yeah,
they have like 41 pools. I went there last year for the first
yeah.
time for Valentine's Day weekend. It was awesome.
It was a good time. I gotta admit, it was a good time
I'm
being there. It
sure.
was good to be away. It was hard because they shut you off from any interaction, so from any phone, internet, everything.
Oh,
So you're pretty
really?
much in the dark. So for me, the hardest part was like, being
Your
in the dark for my
business.
business. Exactly. It completely
Oh,
died. It completely just died, right? For like those two
yeah,
months. Some
yeah.
of them, and the hardest part is none of my clients really knew where it was because I had to keep it confidential.
Mm,
So most of them, I was just like, I'm away for a business trip. And they're like, "Where are you
yeah.
going?" I'm like, "LA." I'm going to LA. So it was definitely an awkward time. It was tough for business, but great experience.
So by the way, Ali Grace, I'm not sure if you know her, is Peter's mine. He wasn't there long though. I'm
Yeah,
sure you got
I
some
don't know.
fans. I'm sure you got some fans on there. All right. So has that helped your business at all, like being on TV?
Um, I don't really use it. I don't really say where it was and whatnot. And I wasn't on for too long, anyways. So not enough to say that I got a lot of exposure. But it's
Yeah,
a good icebreaker.
yeah,
Everyone's
for
very
sure.
curious. Everyone's very curious to see like how you got on. What was the opportunity? Like, who did you know? Everyone wants to know what it's like being on camera. So
Sure.
it's a good conversation piece, I would say. Sure, I
Yeah.
wouldn't use it to a
At
client
a
if I'm
at a
setting a
listing
listing
appointment
appointment, but
on your resume, I'm the
it,
bachelorette.
actually yesterday was pretty funny. I was doing some cold calling. I don't know if I told you this, but I was doing
No.
some cold calling in my hometown, my former hometown, And I was talking to some kid, and he gives his phone. He gives his phone to his mom, and in the background, I hear, "Hey, mom, he was on The Bachelorette." And it was the first time ever on a
No way.
call. And I was like,
That's good.
I was so thrown off. I was like, wait, how does he know that? She's
Yeah.
like, oh, he recognized your name when you said it on the phone,
Uh-huh.
and X, Y, and Z. And I was like, oh wow. So that was the first time it ever
All
like
right.
kind of hit. Yeah.
Did you get an appointment?
They're looking to sell in a few months, so we'll
Okay,
see.
good.
Yeah,
There you
yeah,
go. There you go.
yeah,
Awesome. So Peter and I role play every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific time. And
yeah.
my coach was like, I was like, hey, like I'm looking for new role play partners. I have actually three role play partners. One on Monday and Friday. That's the same guy. Some guy named Joe Kotosh in Chicago that I was telling you about. He's really good. Tuesday and
Which I
Thursday,
have to
and then
connect with. Yeah,
yeah, you have to, man. He's
yeah,
awesome. But it's so important to practice your scripts, practice how to talk to clients, because you don't want to practice on your clients. They're gonna say like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And I've been in the business for 15 years, and I'm still to this day learning. And I'm gonna role play for the rest of my career, because I know that I still like I still need to learn so much. There's so much to learn about the business, how to talk to a client about a price reduction, how to talk to a client about, a buyer canceled, or hey, the listing is going to expire in 2 weeks and we want to renew, right? Like there's so many different things that so many tough conversations that you have to talk about. Peter had a listing appointment yesterday, and we role played that one. I thought that was good. It was good practice, right?
yeah, yeah, and absolutely. I think as an agent, you underestimate the power of like role playing, knowing what to say, and it's like a real life scenario. If you have a good role
Mhm.
play partner, it's a real life scenario when you walk into the appointment. So yesterday's when I walked into the appointment, it was exactly what you and I
Really
practiced. It
nice, man.
really
That's
was.
awesome.
He was
Nice.
you analyzed his personality just
Mhm.
right. So I
Yep.
exactly had in the back of my mind. I knew what personality trait he was. I knew what to say. And just by the way you were objecting me on the phone was exactly how he was. So
That's
it
awesome.
helped.
Good.
It helped, right?
Good.
Because it stays
Yeah.
in your head and it helps. So
Yeah.
I think that's very important in this business is to role
Yeah.
play. And I think most of it is like to have someone to mastermind with, right? Bounce ideas off. Like for me
Hmm.
personally, it's like I look at you being in 15 years and I'm like, I want to get there,
Hmm.
right? I want to
Hmm.
be in there for 15 years. I
Hmm.
want to know how you're going on these listing appointments that are 4 or 5 million.
Hmm.
I want to know how you're doing X, Y, and Z, how much money, volume you're doing. So
Yep.
for
Yep.
me, being surrounded with those like-minded individuals,
It's
those
important.
agents shows me that, hey, I can get there too, right? And so that's the big thing with Mastermind. I think in the beauty is that what I've noticed is agents like yourself and a lot of other ones that I've been masterminding with, although they may do way more business than me or been in the business for so long, they always have something to learn from another agent, regardless of how long they've been in the
Always.
business.
Always,
Always.
man. Always. Yeah. 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 I think that's a good point. It's like when, you know, I I was kind of skeptical on coaching, early in my career, because I was in like I was being fed. I was on a team, right? So I was being
Yeah.
fed some leads here and there, and some were actually some big clients. One client was a $20 million client. I'm not
Yeah.
kidding you. And this guy had no idea that he was giving me a well of a client. Um, but you know that's not going to last, right? So I was never really prospecting. I was doing open houses. I had a very small network, so I was getting a few deals a year, and I was making some decent money, right? Not like
Yeah.
wow. And in LA, like decent money is like anywhere else would be a lot of money, but here in LA, everything is so expensive, right? So like rent
Yeah.
is like for a small studio is like $2,000. It's insane.
Yeah.
So you really have to make a decent amount of money in order to at least go buy a house, right?
Sure.
Um, so what got me so excited about coaching was hearing those stories, like you said. I was, I went to the Tom Ferry event, and I heard these agents speak about their stories, about where they started, or like what they're doing. I'm like, wow, like these guys are awesome. And then that inspired me. I was like, well, if they can do it, I can do it, right? Like when I was working here in Beverly Hills, and I'm at Hilton showing a house. If you guys watch $1 Million Listing LA and Beverly Hills. Anyway, um, what I was getting at is listening to all those stories got me inspired to do coaching, man. It was
Yeah.
like I'm like, wow, if they can do it, I can do it. And so that's why
Yeah.
I joined and I signed up.
Yeah.
Um,
See if we have any questions. I think it's
yeah,
important to be in coaching because again, like everyone that gets into real estate, what I've been seeing is that everyone wants to be in luxury, right? Everyone wants to do luxury. Everyone wants to do the big price points
yeah,
because it's glamorous, right?
it's
But
exciting.
when
Yeah,
you get exciting, yes. But when you're in coaching, you get to see how these rock star agents are just in the middle of the road price points and they're killing it.
I
And
know.
you're like, I don't need to sell luxury or I don't need to do this. I could just do that. And that's the beautiful coaching is that you meet so many different agents around the whole country who do it all different ways. And they're all rock stars in their own
Yeah,
way. And it's not just being in luxury and it's not just being doing this. You could do so many different things as long as like you find your niche
exactly.
and just like run with it. And that's the beauty of being coaching because when I got into it, I was like, I just want to do ultra luxury. But what does that mean, right?
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
different to everybody. So
Yeah,
I
no, I
think
agree.
that's what coaching does well.
Yeah, I know. I met some guy at the summit, at the Tom Ferry Summit, a couple years ago, and he's in Florida selling $300,000 houses. I think I was telling you about this guy, and last year he made over $1 million. You know, it's like I was
Who would
like,
have
wow,
thought?
that's
Who would have
awesome.
thought?
In
Yeah,
an area where
exactly.
you can buy a mansion for $800,000. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
so it's cool to to see these stories, and I think that goes back to one of my limiting beliefs when I moved to Beverly Hills, and I was living in the suburbs where I was selling $200,000-$300,000 houses, and I came here and I was like, fuck, I felt like I didn't belong, and I
Yeah.
had that limiting belief for a long time, a super super long time, and everybody that I was looking at that was successful, they went to USC. They went to Beverly Hills High School. They
Hmm.
grew up in
Hmm.
Malibu. So for me it was like I didn't really believe that I can get to that level because these people had a great network.
Yeah, yeah.
But then I started seeing other stories of other people that were like breaking into the luxury market, and they were able to become successful. And the way they did it was hard work,
Yeah.
prospecting every single day, door knocking,
Hmm.
cold calling, right? Like doing the things that other people didn't want to do,
Yeah. Yeah.
doing open houses Saturday and Sunday, double shift every single day, right?
Right,
So,
right, right.
whatever market you're in, you can become successful. You just have to follow a plan. And that's why coaching is so good because like like you're actually building a business. You're not just a fly,
Yeah,
by night agent that just closes, 4 or 5 deals a year and says,
exactly.
this is fine.
Yeah, it's actually running a business. Like I remember I was masterminding with an agent. He was carrying like 23 listings at a time all
Oh,
year.
that's a
He
lot.
was
That's a
yeah,
lot.
he was doing like 250 deals a year.
Damn.
And he was netting $1 million in his pocket every year. And I asked him, I remember one time I went to a conference, I was like, what do you do? Like, what do you do? Like, you must know everybody under the sun. He's like,
Hmm.
no, I just prospect. So I was fortunate enough where I got into a prospecting mastermind. So
Hmm.
every day we had to FaceTime each other and prospect like this on live for two
Hmm.
hours on the phones. And if you didn't show up, he would text you a call and be like, hey, you got to show up. And I
That's
just
awesome.
watched this guy, old school, just with his mainly on his phone, calling people for 2 hours
That's
straight,
awesome.
nonstop. He had a
Yeah.
system. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's all you do? He goes, that's all I do. I just get on the phone, I call, and then after 2 hours, I go to my appointments. And it just showed me that there's no really trick to the trade. There's no secret
There
sauce.
isn't. There isn't.
It's just,
There isn't. I
just,
mean, I
just
mean,
work.
learning the scripts and knowing how to talk to people, you have to practice that. But it's not
Yeah,
like you said. It's no magic to it. You just have to practice it, right?
exactly.
Some are better than others, though. Like I know some people that are just like naturally good at talking to people.
Yeah,
And for me, I still get a little anxious getting on the phones. Every
yeah.
single I do it every single morning too. Every single morning at 8 o'clock, I'm on the phones, right? And and when somebody answers, I get like like my stomach gets all kind of weird. I get a little
Yeah,
nervous.
yeah. What would you
But
say your weakness is? Like, if you had to pick a weakness, what's your weakness in the business?
right now, it's
Yeah.
closing on my listing appointments
So,
because
so getting a listing appointment.
no,
Yeah.
no, no, not getting a listing appointment because I've actually gotten this month I've gotten 8 and my goal was 10, so I have 2 more
Nice.
days to get to that
Yeah.
to get to that goal. But I'm not. There's some listings where I'm not swinging at the end. I'm not asking or I'm
Um,
not pushing hard enough for that
yeah.
listing, And so that's the beauty about coaching and tracking everything you do, right? So I
Yeah,
track
yeah,
how many calls, how many hours, how many conversations, how many appointments, how many listing appointments, all that stuff. Because if you track everything, then you see where you're failing at, right?
yeah.
Because some people will get a listing, but they can't sell it. So then they have to work on getting a price reduction, right?
Right, right,
Um,
right. Exactly.
but yeah, I mean that's where I'm at right now, man. It's like I'm I would say I'm decent on the phones. I still have a lot to improve on, right? A lot to improve on. Um, but then when I come to a listing appointment, depending on who the person is, and this is what we talked about yesterday, is called social styles. You have people that are amiable, people that are expressive, people that are drivers, and people that are analytical, right? So the
Right,
analytical and the
right.
drivers are the ones that I'm having a tough time closing, because I'm not like that. I'm an expressive, amiable person. Like I'm a nice
Yeah,
guy, you know.
yeah.
What are you, or what do you
I,
think you are?
I'm definitely amiable and expressive. So
Yeah,
I
same.
have the same issue where like if someone's a driver, so I become a driver in like pressure moments,
Hmm.
right? I become a driver. But if I'm in a listing table with a driver, I'm always trying to be a little too expressive with
Hmm.
them, which that might not work because they just want to know right down to the business, like, how are you going to sell my house? How am I making money? And
Hmm.
I'm over here want to be a little bit like, build rapport and
Hmm. Hmm.
use my personality and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
sometimes you actually have to know the personality of every client because sometimes you might throw a joke out there, and the guy or girl or woman or lady might not even laugh.
Yeah, I know.
I've had it before where they just stare at me, and I'm like, okay, that didn't go well, right? So
That
you have
feels
to
weird.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to know your audience.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
so there's actually a book that our coach Jeff recommended me. It's called The Social Styles Handbook. I highly recommend it for anybody in sales.
Hmm.
Actually, anybody in like any kind of work, right? Because if you know how to communicate with somebody that has a different social style than you, and there's four different social styles, right? So the odds of you meeting somebody with a different social style is going to be a high percentage. If you know how to adapt your communication to that social style, you're going to kill it. And whatever you do, because in anything in life, you're always trying to like persuade people, right? Like if you're I don't know, like if you're trying to get a deal, and you're like trying to buy something, and that person's a driver, and so you're like trying to like bargain with somebody, and you know how to deal with that driver now, then you can try to like persuade him to like lower the price or something, right? Or
Right, right.
obviously when it comes to real estate and like our clients, we have to persuade them to sign a listing, to lower their price, to accept an offer, to accept a request for repairs. I mean, there's so many things that we have to persuade our clients to do. So learning how to
Right.
do that is an art form, and you just learn it.
Yeah.
You just learn it.
Yeah. I think my hardest thing was asking for them to like to sign the contract or take the next step forward, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna talk to the client, you're gonna give them a pitch, you're gonna talk pricing, you're gonna talk market analysis, you're gonna talk about marketing strategy, and then it's like you leave it there and you're like, I gotta ask for business now. I gotta ask for the listing,
I know.
and I think when you first start in the business, the hardest thing is, can you sign the contract, or do you feel comfortable in what I
Mm-hmm.
said? Do you feel comfortable and confident I can sell your house? What is it going to take for us to move forward? What do you have to think
Mm-hmm.
about? So asking those questions, you know, progresses into the next step. Like, you put your foot forward and
Mm-hmm.
allows you to get to that closing table and be like, all right, now sign the contract. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was my hardest thing to do, especially when you're getting nervous that you see that the seller's not really, as easy to persuade or to be on your
I
side,
know.
right?
I
So
know. That's really
sometimes it
hard.
takes that comfort, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and I think you can't be scared just to say, like, you don't have to throw it in their face about signing the contract. You can just say, what do we have to do next to move forward, right? What is it
Yeah.
that you're thinking about that I haven't said? Maybe I didn't talk about something that you're still hesitant about. What is it that you're thinking about that we can talk about it all out together, and maybe we'll have an answer. So if you just ask the questions, if you just, sorry, can you hear me? Yo, you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Hello.
Yo, you there? Yeah.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Is it your
Yeah, I can hear you, but I think
is
it's
it
you
is it
moving.
your ear pods maybe?
Might be me.
It's
Is it
yeah,
good? I think we're
we're
good.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we're
we're
good.
back.
Yeah. So basically, what I was saying is that you just got to be able to ask questions. If they're not saying yes right away, just ask them what they're thinking about. What is it that maybe you didn't cover something that they're hesitant about, right?
Yeah.
So don't be scared to ask them, how can we move forward? What's the next step?
Hmm.
And if they're confident, just ask, hey, can you sign the contract? Right? If you don't ask, then they can't do it.
I know, and I think I'm right. Like I feel like me and you are like very very similar, right? We have very
Yeah.
similar personalities, and when we do come across that driver, that analytical, and and it's hard to build rapport with those people because they just don't like to have a conversation. So it's like, oh,
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
you were in Italy the other day, or like you see like photos of like of their family, like in like any, oh, I was in
Yeah.
Italy too, and they're like, okay, cool, and you're like, all right,
Right.
this guy doesn't want to
Right. Right.
this guy doesn't want to have like a conversation, but that's okay. It doesn't mean you can't close them, right? You just have to learn how
Right.
to deal with those kind of. So I'm
Exactly.
learning that right now. I'm learning that right now. And Jeff always says, if they're not signing, they you haven't answered. There's some unanswered questions there. So ask them, hey, what questions do
Exactly.
you have? At this point, we've already discussed price, your net, the marketing, me as an agent. This is when
Hmm.
when my clients sign a listing agreement. So
Yeah.
what questions can I answer?
Yeah.
So
From early in my career, they used to tell me if they're not signing, they're not confident you can sell the house yet.
yeah,
That's all it comes down to. And it doesn't mean that you're not a good person or you can't get the job done. You just haven't done a good enough job explaining why you're the person for that job, right?
yeah,
So
agreed.
you have to sometimes you just you're anxious in the meeting, you're nervous. So like sometimes you might forget to go over something. Or there might be something that, I remember one time I went to a listing appointment, I thought I killed it and I didn't get the listing. And the only reason why I didn't get it is because I didn't talk about the school systems that were around the
Oh,
area.
oh,
And the whole
oh,
time I knew like the school system was a driving point to
yeah,
market to the moms and the families. And
yeah,
because I
yeah,
didn't say it and because I didn't ask what's
yeah,
holding you back or whatnot, I lost the listing because of that. Although my
yeah.
pricing was exactly on point, my marketing strategy was on point, she just felt that I wasn't fit for the demographic and the audience that were going to buy that house.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's crazy what these agents, or sorry, what these homeowners think. Like they'll just hire people based on some weird things. At
Yeah.
the end of the
Yeah.
day, they're gonna hire somebody that they like, though. At the end of the day, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so like if you would have talked about the school district and you had a horrible marketing plan, they're like, oh, you know what? They thought like me. The school district is so important, right? Even though it may not be like the driving force or or like the only way this house is gonna sell is to like a mom or like kids, right? But like they have these ideas in their head, right? And so it's like how do you get them to like you based on like what their values are?
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. So it's a learning curve. I mean, you're never comfortable in this business, even if you're doing it for so long, right? You're always learning.
Always learning. Oh, so we got
Yeah.
we got a question here, man. We got, what are the top four marketing points to touch during a listing appointment? Well,
Ooh,
for
it's a
me,
good
it's
question.
the photography is the number one thing. It's
Hmm.
so important to have amazing photography. I always do aerial, nighttime, twilight shots,
Yeah.
which is like sunset time,
Yeah.
daytime. I do a walkthrough video, so that's super important. The other thing I do is I will swap the main photo on Zillow every week or 2 weeks, so it looks like a new listing on Zillow.
Hmm.
Because you know how Zillow only has like the first photo there. So I always rotate that first photo every couple weeks so that it looks like a new listing. Um, Another one is let's see here, video, photography, and honestly, it's just getting the word out that you have a listing. So email blast, social media, all that stuff works, right? But I think the most important thing is the photos and the price,
Yeah.
you know?
The price is the most important, I believe. But you know what? One thing I think agents neglect is the agent to agent network. So like us agents sometimes, can you hear me, Paul? Are we freezing right now? Hold on.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know if I lost
Yeah.
you.
No,
Can you
I
hear
can
me?
hear you.
Yeah.
Hmm?
I was saying the one thing I think most agents forget to do is call other agents. Call other agents and tell them you.
That was my girlfriend
Oh,
calling. Can
oh, okay. Yeah.
you hear me?
Sorry, I think we're having technical difficulties. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, no worries, man. All right, cool. So
What
you
is,
were saying agent to
yeah.
agent is important. I 100% agree.
Agent to agent, like sometimes, it's call another agent and let them know you have the listing. We're so busy
Hmm.
within our business. We sometimes may miss a listing that comes on or some property that we should have eyes on, right? There's so much moving parts in this business. Sometimes picking up the phone and calling a buddy or someone say, hey, I got this new listing. You put it in front of their face and top of their mind, they're gonna think of someone who might want that. I think that's
Yeah,
what we forget to do
yeah,
as agents because
I
that's
agree.
your biggest, move other than the photos and the pricing that you should really pay attention is calling other agents.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, it's email blasts are super important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of agents don't do that. Real nice email blasts. Showcasing all the best all the best photos and all that stuff is really important.
Yeah.
So tell us. Okay, so we've gone over your career. We've gone over the
Okay.
Bachelorette, which is
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
People are saying here the reason why they don't talk back is because they stare because you're beautiful. That's what somebody said.
That's good. That's good.
Hyperman13.
Yeah. 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 He's the ultimate hype man. He's a good friend from back home. Great guy.
Oh, really? Awesome, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So give us advice for new agents. We got about like five more minutes.
Sure.
What would you give advice to new agents, starting off?
Great question. I actually got this question 3 times this week from new agents. Advice a new agent.
Sweet.
I would say pick a brokerage that has fundamental training skills for new agents. Go with the
Yeah.
brokerage that will mentor, will have the training manuals and the time to teach you the ropes of being an agent. An agent is not just getting in the office or posting things. It's actually knowing the business, knowing how to work, knowing how to, your mindset, knowing how to structure your day, knowing how to go after business. So I
Yeah.
think go with the brokerage that has a great program. If you can't find a brokerage that's a great program, or you don't want to be in a brokerage that's that kind of program, then find a team that
Hmm. Yep.
has the capacity to train you. Someone who's done it. Doesn't mean they have to be the most successful or the busiest. Just someone who knows what they're doing that is willing to mentor you, and not just do the work for them, but actually sit down and help you, grow your business.
Yep.
It's you might have to be a couple months from actually getting any deals done, and you have to understand that could take you 6 months to get a sale,
Oh
right?
yeah,
And
for sure. As a new
that's part
agent.
of the
Yeah.
business, new agent.
Hmm.
So I would say a brokerage that has training or a team that has the capacity to train you. I
Yep.
think those two things, going on your own these days, it's
Tough.
scary,
Yeah.
competitive.
Yep.
You're probably mentally not going to be strong enough because you're going to get beat down every single day. Sorry to
Hmm.
say that, but that's the
Yeah.
truth. So I think those two that I did in my career, and I was on a team just last year. So I think it's imperative to kind of put you in the right path. I don't know. What do you
Awesome.
think?
Yeah. I mean, I agree with those points. If you can join coaching right away,
Coaching.
I
Yeah.
know it's
Yeah.
it's a little expensive. There's like different tiers. I would totally do that.
Yeah.
Um, the Tom Ferry podcast. I mean, he's got like 300 episodes. Start listening to that. Like he's got some
Yeah.
awesome content. This guy's a rock star. Like he's coached some of the best agents in the nation. He's grown people from zero to like making I think one of his clients has like 25 $1 million in GCI. I mean, like monster teams. Yeah, it's crazy. Like personal clients
Crazy.
of his. Personal. I mean,
Yeah.
like I wish Tom was my
Yeah.
coach. I
Yeah.
mean, it
Yeah.
probably cost like 10 grand a month.
You'd
But
probably kick our
anyway.
ass every day.
Oh, he would. He would.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing would be treat your business like a business. And I
Yeah.
never did that until year 13, which is crazy to think, but that's just a reality, right? And now that I treat it like a business, I am like doing so much better. my lifestyle so much better. I got money in the bank account. I got money in
Yeah.
stocks. I got investment properties. Like all these things are happening because I treat it like a business. I got a
Mm.
schedule. I stick to it. And on top of that, you have to prospect. Even if
Yeah.
you have a great network and you don't want to cold call, you like use your network to get you. I know agents here in LA. They don't cold call or open house or door knock. They have a great network
Yeah.
and good for them, but they use that network. Like they work that network.
Work it.
They're
Yeah.
taking people on lunch every single day, like somebody new, right? Like Aaron Kierman, who has the biggest team at Compass nationwide. He's got like 50 people on his team, and he was at our firm Hilton and Hyland for a long time, and then he left. But he always said, I take every single day, I take somebody new to lunch. And that's how he built his
Wow.
business, man. This guy's a rock star.
Yeah.
So yeah, treat it like a business and prospect. You got to
Yeah.
prospect, right?
So the
To
two
get
fundamental
to get it.
things.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, man. Any closing remarks?
Just keep fighting every day. Stay mentally tough. Any new
Yeah,
agents out there, anyone
yeah.
who's already a rock star, keep being a rock star. And I guess just have fun, man. Gotta have fun doing it. Don't put so
I
much pressure on you.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And like you said, surround yourself with people that are
Yeah.
doing well. Like anybody who's at a level that you want to be at, ask them, what are you
Ask
doing?
them.
Like, how did you
Yeah.
get there? Like, what's your story? Because like if they
Right.
did it, why can't you? Anybody can do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, brother.
What
I appreciate
we got
this.
some
Any questions?
we got some last questions. What are your thoughts on what's currently going on with the GME stock? I actually made some money on that GME stock. I had bought it like a year
Yeah.
and a half ago, but I don't know. I don't know anything about stocks, so I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah.
Can you go into detail about what you mean about treating it like a business? New agent here. All right, I'll go pretty fast, Paula. Um, a lot of agents, I would say probably 90%. And Peter, you've seen it. Like you go to the office and it's empty. You got like
Yeah.
10%
Yeah.
of the agents are there at the office.
Yeah.
When I mean treat it like a business is have a schedule, right?
Hmm.
Like have a schedule every single day. Like, what are you going to do? Because as a real estate agent, if you have no schedule, you're like, all right, what am I going to do today? Like you wake up and like, how am I going to find clients? Right.
Yeah.
Like I have a schedule. Like I have, from 4:45 a.m. until 5 p.m. I got a schedule. Like I got things, I got time blocks, prospect, role play, read, look at the new listings that are coming on the market. Go to appointments, talk to my assistant, like schedule my day. I mean, like everything is all planned out. That's what I mean, treating it like a business,
Yeah.
because most
Yeah.
agents out there, they wake up and they don't know what the day is going to look like. I know what my
Right.
whole month is going to look like. My whole year is going to look like.
Yeah. The thing is, like a lot of people that want to get into businesses, so they have freedom, right? Everyone says, I want to be an agent so I could do what I want.
Yeah.
But really,
Yeah.
you lose a lot of your freedom being an agent. I had a hard time. It took me 2 years to understand scheduling. So I simplified it. I said, I have money making activities, which was from the time I wake up until noon. That time block, you cannot, make me do anything else. It's prospecting, it's
Mm-hmm.
role playing, it's doing things to get my mind right to make
Mm-hmm.
money. So it's called money making activities.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do anything else the rest of the day, then don't do
You're
anything
good.
else.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
guarantee you, though, you're going to have a lot to do because if you're prospecting from 8 to noon in that time block, you're going to have a lot of clients to service later on the day. So if all you want to do is do nothing, just from 8 to noon, prospect. I
Agreed.
guarantee you,
Yeah.
you'll have business.
Oh yeah, you'll for sure. Even if you suck on the phones or suck
Yeah,
at door knocking or whatever it is, if you talk to 10 new people a day, you're gonna meet somebody that you're gonna have a good conversation with, and you'll
yeah,
have a client right there. Like if you do that
that's it.
every single day, you are on the way to making $1 million in this
Yeah,
business after a couple
yeah,
years. No doubt
yeah,
about it.
yeah.
Yeah. All right,
What
awesome,
else?
man. All right, I think all right. Was too late to join. Please say so I can watch later. Was
Cool.
looking forward to info. All right, sounds good.
Yeah,
All right, brother. Thanks for coming on, man. I really
yeah, man.
appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Yes.
Anytime, man. You're a rock star.
Yeah, man. You too. All right. Well,
All
I'll
right.
see you. I'll see you next Wednesday at our normal time for role play.
Sounds good, brother. All right, get some rest.
All right, man. Later,
All
bro.
right, later.
See ya.